You know, it's funny. We talk about these legendary eras in motorsports, and Group B rally racing always comes up.
Always.
It's like this mythical beast, you know? But looking at the stack of articles you've shared, it's more than just a it's kind of a cautionary tale too, isn't it? About how fast ambition and innovation can become, well, a little too wild.
Yeah, it's true.
Too much of a good thing, right?
What gets me is this wasn't some decades-long saga.
Right.
We're talking just 5 years, 82 to 86.
Wow.
Blink of an eye, really.
Yeah.
And in that time, car manufacturers went from pushing limits to practically throwing out the rule book on what a rally car could be.
Okay, so for anyone listening who maybe hasn't had their morning caffeine yet,
Right, right.
we should probably start with like Group B 101.
Basics.
Yeah, the basics. So Group B, it was established by the FIA to replace older rally groups. But what they didn't expect was this absolute explosion of ingenuity and, let's be honest, some pretty intense competition between all these manufacturers.
Oh, absolutely. And that's where the whole homologation rule comes in, right?
Right.
To compete, they had to build at least 200 street-legal versions of their rally cars.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, that's how you ended up with things like the Audi Quattro S1 being sold for, everyday driving.
Yeah.
Though I'm not sure what everyday looked like with one of those beasts.
Right. It's mind-blowing. We're talking about cars that were practically bred for the World Rally Championship, designed to handle hairpin turns on mountain roads, snow, ice, you name it, even the brutal terrain of the Safari Rally.
Oh, yeah.
These were not your average Sunday drive vehicles.
Not at all. And, the FIA regulations, at least at the start, they were surprisingly open.
Really?
Yeah, this wasn't about, subtle tweaks to gain an edge. It became an all-out technological arms race.
Several articles actually called it a lack of rules, which
Yeah.
in hindsight feels a bit ominous, doesn't it?
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah.
And it certainly played a part in the dramatic rise and fall of Group B, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it also led to some seriously groundbreaking advancements, and all in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
We're talking horsepower figures going from, around 300 to well over 500, almost 600 in some cases,
Really?
in just a few years.
Wow. That kind of rapid evolution in performance must have been something to see.
Oh, I can only imagine.
What were some of the key things that made all that possible?
Well, turbocharging was huge GE.
Okay.
We're not just talking about bigger turbos either. They were developing incredibly sophisticated systems,
Like what?
like anti-lag systems, for one,
Okay.
which basically kept the turbo spinning even when the driver let off the gas.
Oh, wow.
This meant these cars had near-instant throttle response, made them incredibly nimble and powerful.
It's wild to think about those drivers wrestling with that much power.
I know, right?
The articles mentioned some drivers even experienced tunnel vision at top speed because of the sheer acceleration.
You can imagine.
It's intense.
And it wasn't just about raw power either.
Oh, okay.
Material science was advancing like crazy.
Oh, interesting.
Teams were using things like carbon fiber and Kevlar to shed weight and improve strength.
So it's lighter but stronger.
Exactly.
Wow.
And then you had the rise of four-wheel drive systems.
Right.
Audi really took the lead there with their Quattro system.
Game changer.
Oh, total game changer, especially on those slick rally stages.
Yeah.
Traction and handling, night and day.
Speaking of game changers, we can't talk about Group B without mentioning some of the absolute legends who got behind the wheel.
Oh, for sure.
You've got icons like Walter Röhrl, Arja Vatanen, Stig Blomqvist, and of course Michelle Mouton, who almost became the first female world rally champion in '85.
Incredible driver.
Isn't she amazing?
Her story is incredible.
Yeah.
And it really speaks to the level of talent that Group B attracted. These drivers weren't just skilled, they were pushing the very limits of what was humanly possible behind the wheel of these crazy powerful, crazy demanding machines.
And then there were the fans.
Yeah.
I mean, this wasn't your average motorsport crowd, right? These were diehards who, lived for the spectacle, the danger, the sheer audacity of it all.
Oh, totally. Group B, it wasn't just a sport, it was an event.
An event, yeah.
These races were free to attend, so you had spectators lining the forest roads, often just feet away from these hurtling machines.
It's crazy.
And these weren't just casual viewers. Oh, no, these were fanatics.
Fanatics. One article even mentioned teams finding hair, blood, even, and I can't believe this is real severed fingers,
Oh, yeah.
lodged in their car's air intakes after a stage.
I've heard those stories, too.
It's horrifying, but it also speaks to just how intense the atmosphere was.
It was a different time, for sure.
Yeah.
But that raw energy, that sense of danger and unpredictability, it
Yeah.
was all part of what made Group B so captivating.
But as we know, that intensity also came at a price.
Mm,
Let's talk about how this incredible but maybe unsustainable era in motorsport came to a tragic end.
it was a dangerous game, no doubt.
Yeah.
And sadly, it wasn't just the fans putting themselves at risk.
Right.
The drivers were right there on the edge, too.
Pushing these cars to their absolute limits and then some.
Exactly.
And ultimately, that led to some really tragic accidents.
It did.
Most notably, the death of Henri Toivonen and his co-driver, Sergio Cresto, at the 1986 Tour de Corse.
Yeah. That was a turning point for sure.
It had to be.
Toivonen was considered one of the best of his generation.
Really?
Oh, yeah, someone who could, wring every ounce of performance out of the Lancia Delta S4, which was a beast of a car.
Wow.
His death coming after other fatal accidents involving both competitors and spectators. I mean, it forced the FIA's hand,
Yeah.
They had to confront the reality that Group B had just become too dangerous.
And so at the end of 1986,
That was it.
the era of Group B was over.
Over as quickly as it began, really.
It's hard to fathom how such a short period could have such a lasting impact on motorsports, though.
It is, but it's a testament to the intensity, the innovation, and sadly, the tragedy of that era. But, the story doesn't end there.
It doesn't.
No, not at all. These cars, these legends on wheels, they didn't just disappear.
That's right. You mentioned these homologation specials,
Mhm.
the street-legal versions of these rally monsters.
The real deal.
They're now highly sought-after collector's items.
Oh, absolutely.
In one article, you highlighted the 1985 Audi Sport Quattro S1 E2 that sold for nearly €2 million in 2022.
Yeah, that's a special one.
What makes these cars so special to collectors, and why such a hefty price tag?
Well, for one, there just aren't that many of them left.
Right, limited production.
Exactly. Only 200 road-going versions of each car were required for homologation, so they're inherently rare.
Okay.
But it's more than just scarcity.
What else is there?
These cars represent a raw, visceral driving experience that you just don't find in modern cars.
So we're not just talking about museum pieces here.
No, not at all.
People actually buy these cars and drive them.
Oh, absolutely. Some collectors, yeah, they keep them in pristine condition, under lock and key. But others, they want to feel what it was like to pilot these beasts, experience that history firsthand.
I can imagine. And when you think about it, they weren't watered-down versions either.
Not even close.
They had the same DNA as the rally cars, powerful engines, advanced all-wheel drive systems, and that unmistakable Group B look.
That's iconic.
It is. And that X-Works designation you mentioned for the Audi Sport Quattro S1 E2.
Yeah.
What makes that significant?
So X-Works means that particular car was actually built and used by the Audi factory racing team.
Oh, wow. So it's like owning a piece of history.
Exactly. A car that was driven by those legends we were talking about earlier.
That's incredible. So it's not just about owning a powerful car. It's about owning a piece of motorsport history.
It's the whole package.
It is. But are all these cars locked away in private collections, or are there opportunities for fans to, see them in action?
Thankfully, it's not just about ownership.
Okay, good.
Many collectors are happy to share their passion. They showcase their Group B cars at historic rallies and events.
That's amazing.
It is. It's a chance to see these legends come to life, to hear those engines roar, and to experience a little of that Group B magic firsthand.
It's a way to keep that legacy alive for new generations of motorsport enthusiasts.
For sure.
It does make you wonder, though, will we ever see an era like Group B again?
It's the question, isn't it?
An era defined by such raw speed, innovation, and yes, even danger.
It was a different time.
Electric and autonomous racing, yeah, those do feel like the frontiers now, like what Group B was back then.
Pushing the limits, for sure.
But there's a part of me that wonders if, the very things that made Group B so legendary, that raw, almost reckless pursuit of speed, it's at odds with, everything we've learned about safety in motorsport since then.
It's a tough one, isn't it? On the one hand, we have to protect drivers, protect spectators.
Right.
The lessons from Group B, as tragic as they were, they definitely made motorsport safer.
Yeah.
There's that thing, about that era, that living on the edge feeling. It's hard to replicate when safety comes first.
Totally. One article actually made a good point about the FIA's role in all this.
Oh, how so?
They said that while those loose regulations, they sparked all this amazing innovation, that same lack of, well, oversight.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it kind of led to Group B's downfall,
It's true. It's a tricky situation. No easy answers there.
Right.
The FIA had to walk a fine line, encourage innovation, competition, but also, safety had to be a factor.
To balance.
Exactly. And remember, this was before, like, fancy computer simulations and crash testing.
Oh, right. It was a whole different world.
They were making the rules up as they went, in a way.
So Group B, it was a learning curve for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
The FIA, manufacturers, drivers, even the fans.
It was a crazy experiment with some high highs and some really low lows.
Yeah, a period of rapid evolution, but like you said, a reminder that progress can come at a cost.
That's the thing about pushing boundaries, isn't it? There's always a risk.
And that's what makes Group B so fascinating, even now.
Totally agree.
It's a reminder of a time when, I don't know, the lines were blurred, anything seemed possible, and speed was king.
And it captured the world's imagination, that's for sure.
It did. Triumph and tragedy, innovation, and, well, heartbreak.
Yeah, it had it all.
And those stories, they still resonate with motorsport enthusiasts today.
They always will.
It has for me, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Diving into these articles, it's clear Group B wasn't just about fast cars, right?
No, not at all.
It was about the people, their passion, that drive to push the limits no matter what.
It was a wild ride, that's for sure.
It was, and it left a mark on motorsports that we're still feeling today.
Absolutely. Who knows, maybe someday we'll look back at this electric and autonomous racing era
Yeah.
with the same kind of awe and disbelief.
Like, what were they thinking?
Exactly. Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure. That need for speed, the thrill of competition, the desire to see the impossible happen.
It never gets old.
Never. Those are the things that'll always drive innovation and capture our imaginations.
Couldn't agree more. This deep dive into Group B rally racing has been amazing, really eye-opening.
Glad you enjoyed it.
If you're listening and you want to learn more, we've got all the articles linked in the show notes.
Definitely worth a read.
It's a wild ride through a truly unforgettable chapter in motorsport history.
Until next time.
See you then.